In the future, I honestly think that this will become the new normal. Even though me thinking in the future of teaching 20 students without being able to see them, I honestly think eventually this will become the new normal. And not just because of the quarantine. When you think about it, this is technology that we can use to save money in other aspects. Instead of the brick and mortar buildings, we can kind of move to, education in a more virtual space. So I think this will become, if not the new normal for everyone, it would definitely be a substitute, especially for those snow days where I live. If it snows just a little, the whole city is shutting down. We do not have snow here. So when the city shuts down, children miss school. We didn't have this virtual learning before then, but now I think when that happens in the future, school will go on as if they're in the classroom. I mean, social isolation, it can have negative effects on grown-ups as well. So for me, I find it very important to not only be my students' teacher, but their friends as well. So by that, I let them express themselves. Some days it can just be total academics. The next day that student is just not feeling it. So we're going to talk about your feelings. We're going to bring in that self-expression because nothing is healthy about keeping it inside. And that's one of the things I do in my class. I'm known for poetry. So we're going to write that problem out. We're going to draw concrete poems, whatever we have to do to make you feel better and to get your mind off of it. So I like to bring in games. I can tell you about one of the games that I do for my students. So I give them like 20 seconds and I say, look around, find everything that you can see. I pick a random color like red. Okay, make a mental note, everything red, everything red. After 20 seconds, they're like, teacher, I know I got a lot of red things in my mind. So I say, okay, tell me everything that you saw that was blue. And they're like, blue? You said red. But I want them to understand the correlation. What you focus on is what you bring to life. So just like with the quarantine, just like with social isolation, if we keep focusing on, oh, I'm at home, I don't have any friends, I don't know what to do, it's going to grow, it's going to exacerbate the problem. But if we keep our mind open where other things can come inside, just like I said, show me something blue. It can be a blue toy right by that student, but they did not see that blue toy because they're focused on red. So for students, a lot of times, social isolation is the red. When you open your mind up and you see the different colors and the different things, you know, you might be at home, but this is the time to get close to your family. This is the time to continue to learn English, maybe learn some other language, learn Spanish. So it's different things that you can do. It's just about the way that you focus and look at things. And that has a way of bringing my kids out of their depression. Some of them brings them out and they start to realize, you're right, Teacher Kim. I didn't focus on that blue doll there the same way I didn't focus on, I have a little brother, I have a new little baby sister that I can play with and teach them English like I'm learning today. I understand what type of learner my child is. If they're small, we definitely make things because most small children are kinesthetic learners. They have to feel it to understand it. So if I'm teaching you about airplanes, we're going to grab some construction paper and we're going to put that airplane together. For my older students, some of them could be kinesthetic learners as well, but an airplane is not going to get their attention. They're more into Relia. So if I'm teaching them about cell phones, we're going to pull out our cell phones. I'm going to show them their apps. Well, my apps are going to show me their apps. And so we're communicating, we're having fun, but we're learning at the same time. And that's a great thing. Most students don't realize they're actually learning because if I wait to the next class and I ask them something from this class, they remember it because they can put an object to the word. And I think that's very important as well. My students will have great works, and let me tell you why. Because I have them keeping journals. I have them to write down how they're feeling every day. What are they smelling? What do they taste? What are they hearing? Because this is going to be the history of them. Generations from now, when they're grandparents and they have grandchildren, they can say, I can show you my journal from 2020. This is what was going on. Because I actually have like journals from my grandma from what was going on in her time. So this is becoming family heirlooms. You are a part of history. And when they understand that, they're like, wow. And I show them, you see this history book that we're reading? One day this will be in that history book. And when your grandkids are reading this book, you can show them what you're going through now. they can take that to their teacher and they can have a show and tell. So all of my students will have their own piece of history at the end of this. So when I was in middle school, I was bullied, and bullying took away my voice. I became very withdrawn. I didn't want to interact with anyone. I had this very special teacher in 7th grade, and she taught me about poetry. And not only just poetry, she taught me how to construct different poems, whether I was doing alliteration, onomatopoeias. So I didn't have time to be depressed anymore. I wanted to format my words to meet the criteria for those specific poems. And that got me to writing poetry books. So, and I like to say that poetry is not just a written word, it's self-expression. So your poetry might be music, it might be dancing, it's all the art. So it's definitely important because we have to have an outlet. No one is one-dimensional. And if you are one-dimensional, that's unhealthy as well. So you need to have different layers. So poetry should be included in every curriculum, in my opinion.